Good evening, folks. Hope you're all doing well. Following on from my previous two videos of under 23 players, I am now going to look at the midfield position. Same criteria, they must have played 75% of the last 40 games, and the budget is the same as defenders, £15 maximum. Before I go on the list or carry on with my list of selection of midfielders, I mentioned this boy in the last video, Jayden Bogle. He is now signed for Leeds United, and in my biased opinion, he could be one of the best value for money under 23 defenders on the platform, because I'm of the belief that Leeds United will dominate the Championship next season. And Jayden Bogle is really the only recognised right back that Leeds have. So if fit, he's going to play the majority of games. You will see from his scoring overall, the last time Sheffield United were promoted, which was 3 seasons ago, obviously 3 years younger, but there's some good scores in there, and there's some decent scores from last season while they were playing in the Premiership, given the Sheffield United were absolute dire. So as expected, you're not going to see dark green scores across the board, but there are some. So if anyone is looking for a cheap under 23 defender, look no further than Jayden Bogle. £3 something for a limited card, 20 quid for a rare, I believe, which for me is fantastic value. And my first selection of midfielders is this gentleman, Angelo Stiller, who's at Stuttgart currently. He's more of a defensive midfielder, and as you can see, his scores last season are very, very impressive. Lots of dark green scores, which is obviously what you're looking for. He's got one more season of being under 23 eligibility, or eligible for under 23s, however you want to say it. I think he stays at Stuttgart for at least another season. There is, or reportedly, interest from Liverpool, Barcelona, etc. Don't know how true that is. Time will tell. But like I said, I still think he'll be at Stuttgart for the at least until January of this current season. One to definitely keep an eye on because his scores are very, very impressive. The next guy on my list is Matthias Delorge Nijper, I believe. He plays in the Belgium League for Sint-Truiden. He's only a young man, so under 23 eligibility up until 2029. He's more of your traditional centre midfielder from what I've read. I'm not claiming I've watched this guy a lot. I think I've seen him once. But as you can see from his scores last season, they're very, very impressive for a young kid. Lots and lots of dark green scores, which is ultimately what you're looking for. If he can add goals and assists to his game, then that's only going to go higher. For just over 11 quid for his limited card, I think this boy looks good value for money. Next guy on the list is Quinton Timber. Arsenal fans will know this name because his twin brother plays for Arsenal. 1 year more year of under 23 eligibility. His scores are decent. They're more than decent, to be fair. There's lots of dark green scores in there. Plays for one of the best clubs in Holland, arguably the best at this moment in time. However, Timber is currently out injured with an ankle injury, to my knowledge. So if this guy is taking an interest of yours, then do a little bit of research because I'm not sure how long he's out for. But when he's fit, I think he starts for Feyenoord. And like I said, one of the most dominant teams in Holland, if not the most dominant. So his scores should not suffer whatsoever and possibly improve as he's getting older. So definitely another one to keep an eye out for roughly about a tenner. Next guy on the list is Shinta Appelkamp, who's plying his trade in the Bundesliga second division with Fortuna Düsseldorf. His floor price for the limited, according to So Rare Date, is about £6.5. You can see from his scores last season, decent, lots of dark green scores. I do believe I've seen him once last season because they were playing a team that I had a player in, and I for some reason think that he played in an attacking midfield role, but on here it's got him down as a centre mid, so I'm not 100% sure. But like I said, the scores appeal to me because there's lots of dark green scores. So for £6.5, he could be another good value for money signing. And he's only got one more year of being under 23 eligibility or eligible. Next on the list, Tony Fruck, who plays in Croatia for Rijeka. I think his price has risen over the last few days, weeks, because I've seen him mentioned on a few other videos. He's still under a tenner, and I think looking at his scores last season, there's still good value. You can see again lots of green scores, or should I say dark green scores, which is obviously what you're looking for. Again, I believe I've seen him once or twice last season, and I'm convinced he was in an attacking midfield role. But on So Rare Data, they've got him as a centre midfielder, so I'm not sure. But it's the scores that count for me. I know he's good at scoring goals or assists. He's got a decent record, so as long as he keeps that up, those scores should maintain at those levels. Next guy on the list is Matthias Taffner, I believe is how you pronounce it. One more year of under 23 eligibility. Now, considering this guy plays for one of the worst sides in Austria, his scores are outstanding. They were last season, as you can see. Sensational scores, in my opinion, for a guy who's playing in a weak side. I've not seen any links for him moving, so I don't think I've ever seen him play, but looking at his scores, I believe that he would be their main man. His floor price, according to data, is about £6.22 or £5.92 with his last sale. For those scores, I think it's outstanding value for money. But it depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for players who are playing for the dominant side, then obviously this guy is not going to be for you. But if you're just looking for scores alone, then this guy should surely be on one of your top priority lists for an under 23 midfielder. Obviously, if you're looking for value for money. Now, the next guy on the list is Paul Nibel, who plays in the Bundesliga for Mainz. I'm not so sure why this guy is so cheap. I've tried to do a bit of research on Google, etc. I can't find a lot of information on him, but looking at his scores, especially his last 15 and last 5, like I said, I don't know why he's so cheap. Obviously, doesn't play for one of the top teams in the Bundesliga, but those scores are very, very impressive. Like I said, I can't find any information. I don't think there's any links for him going anywhere else. If this guy takes your interest, then obviously do a bit more research. Um, but from what I can see, just looking from the outset, he looks good value for money, in my opinion. Next on the list is Charles. Not trying to pronounce his surname, got no idea. He's on the list purely from previous seasons. People who've been on So Rare or know their football, European football especially, will know this guy from Club Bruges. And you can see on the left hand side what he was capable and what the scores he was producing at Club Bruges, which was outstanding. He went to Milan where he's flopped basically. He's now at Atlanta. And if this boy rediscovers any of the form he showed at Bruges, at Atalanta, then he could be an absolute bargain. But there's a big if with that, because obviously Italian football, in my opinion, is a lot stronger than in Belgium. So whether he's good enough to recapture that same form is up for debate. However, like I said, if he does or gets close to it, then in my opinion, he's going to be a lot more expensive than he is. He's only got one more year of under 23 eligibility, just to note that as well. Next on the list is Orkun Koku, who's currently at Benfica. Now, if reports are to be believed, Benfica signed him for 40 million quid. He's come out, and whether he's got a disagreement with the manager saying he's been misused, but there's links at Man United, Liverpool, etc. He's very highly regarded. You can see lots of dark green scores, even though he's saying it hasn't been, the move has not panned out as well as he hoped, and he was looking to move if reported to be believed. So the jury's still out if he's at Benfica next season, what happens, but he's a quality player, and for under 15 quid as a limited, I think he could potentially be a very, very good buy, depending on what happens with his situation. Also, one more year left of under 23 eligibility. Next guy on the list is Harvey Elliott at Liverpool. I've put him on the list, even though I'm not convinced he's going to start regularly for Liverpool next season. However, if he does, you can see from the scores he posted, especially towards the back end of last season, he can post very, very good scores. So that's why he's on the list, around about a tenner, I think. He's still got 2-3 years left of being under 23 eligible. So he could possibly be a very good signing, value for money signing. But in my personal opinion, because of the doubt whether he's going to start most games, I think there's better options out there. Now, for my final selection, again, doesn't really meet the criteria. However, like I pointed out with Jaden Bogle, Brendan Aronson, he's now back at Leeds United after spending a disastrous loan spell last season at Union Berlin. However, in my opinion, because like I keep saying, Leeds are going to be a dominant side in the Championship, 100%. If they're not in the top two, then there's going to be ructions, managers going to be sacked, etc. So the expectancy is there, and they've got to deliver. This guy, if he starts for Leeds, which I think he could do, because that's one position they haven't really got sorted, a cam, if you like. Rutter's been playing there, who's more of a winger. So Aronson would be my choice at this moment in time as an attacking midfielder. If he does start and performs, then as you can see when he was at Philadelphia Union, Red Bull Salzburg, when he's in a league that he's comfortable in, this guy can score big scores. And I think he's capable of doing that at Leeds United this season. It's going to be a tricky first few months because the fans are going to turn on him because he fucked off last year. He didn't want to stay. No one wants him, basically. That's why he's back at Leeds. So he's going to have to prove the fans wrong. There's a lot of things he's got to prove. And I think if he's got that in him, then he's going to want to show that. And it could be a real season for him to kick on. If he does that for the price he is, I think I've seen cards for like 2-3 quid limited. He could be, like Jaden Bogle, a bargain under 23 player. However, there's far more risk with him than Bogle. So that's my list of midfielders for under 23 guys. Like I keep saying, if any of you've got some suggestions yourself, please put in the comments below. I'll be back in the next few days or so with my centre forwards. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you very soon. Cheers.